Well, I'm here today with Mariah Cook, Miss Nebraska 2012, and I just want to thank you so much for giving me an hour of your time. I know you have a crazy, hectic schedule. Tell us kind of what's going on. I mean, what have you been doing lately?
Well, it's my pleasure to meet with you. And just this summer, I've been doing minimal appearances so far. I went to Orlando about 2 weeks ago for the Miss America's Outstanding Teen pageant, where girls between the ages of 13 and 17 compete for their Miss America title. And I got to meet the 52 other young women that I'll be competing with at Miss America. So that was fun and overwhelming all at the same time. And then now that school has started, I'll be visiting more schools. I know I'm booked through September with appearances all across the state. So we're slowly catching speed.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I don't want to brag, but I was in a womanless beauty pageant in high school, and I did get fourth runner-up.
Very good.
But it was very scary looking for me. So, but don't tell anybody.
Secret.
Anyway, well, hey, listen, I'm just so impressed with just you and the fact that you were able to become Miss Nebraska, and it's so neat to have someone from Shattering State actually do that. That is so cool. We're definitely proud of you, and we're behind you 100%. So we're excited. Well, hey, listen, I just wanted to ask you a few different questions. I'm writing a book called Am I Beautiful? Am I Something? And I just wanted to kind of ask you some questions when it comes to beauty, what our culture says about beauty, some of the pressures that women feel. Let me ask you the first question. It's this. As Miss Nebraska, have you struggled personally with this issue of beauty and body image?
Oh, of course I have. And not just as Miss Nebraska, but even leading up to Miss Nebraska, I competed more times in local pageants across the state, and I didn't start competing until I was a freshman in college, and so I thought I had a good idea of who I was and was comfortable with myself, and then come to find out that I was actually kind of insecure, and so I've had to work on that. But I don't think that I actually became comfortable with myself until right before I won Miss Nebraska. And I say that because this was the first year that I wasn't worried about anything and I wasn't worried about anybody else. I was actually more focused on the experience. I remember leading up to the pageant praying a lot, asking God, just let me be myself, let me walk your path and do the work that you set forth for me to do. And I hadn't done that in the past because I wasn't comfortable with myself.
Wow. Wow. So it made a difference. It sounds like it kind of freed you up to enjoy it more,
It
maybe.
did. It did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, what are the most destructive messages that you believe the media sends to women and to young girls when it comes to this issue of beauty and body image?
Good question. It's the idea that women have to be a certain way, and it's that I like to call it like that Barbie doll image where you have to be a certain size and your hair has to be a certain style, and it's just so completely unpractical for
Hmm.
women. And it's an ongoing struggle. Women have to realize that that's somebody out there, this faceless person who is putting us into this box, and it's our job not to be put into that box. And even as Miss Nebraska, that's still things that I struggle with. And I told her I would never give up eating burgers. So we made the adjustment. But I also had to realize that just because somebody else is telling me this doesn't mean that I have to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. I've done some research on this idea of models and women trying to be a certain size, and they just interviewed a bunch of former supermodels that are now in their 50s and 60s. HBO did a special on it, and I listened to the NPR interview and actually downloaded the transcript. And one of the gals was saying that at the age of 17, that she was like 160 something pounds, and they told her that she had to lose like 50 pounds.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and she was willing to do it, and it's just really kind of sad that people do that kind of thing, and that I think women feel that kind of pressure. Well, let me ask you this: and this is kind of off script a little bit, but do you think things are changing at all when it comes to this?
I think there's an attempt to change. The Dove commercials, I think, is a great example. I think, however, the people who are working to change are such a small few that in the long run, it doesn't look like they're making a dent. But as long as they're persistent, I think we can make a dent.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think girls are slowly learning that they don't need to be a twig to be beautiful, that they can be beautiful in themselves. But I still think we
yeah,
have a long way to go before that idea is accepted 100%.
yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Well, what kind of cultural long-term effects do you believe this has on girls and women? I mean, from what you've seen and what you've read, I mean, what kind of adverse effects do you believe that the media has when it comes to this promoting this little size zero thing that nobody can live up to?
Well, it leads women to believe for the rest of their lives that they have to fit into this box. And so instead of, in a sense, enjoying life to its fullest, they're always concerned about how they look and
Yeah,
how much they
yeah,
weigh instead of just going out to the beach in a swimsuit and having fun, despite, if they have a little extra on the side. And I think long term, women end up struggling with that into their 30s, 40s, 50s, and potentially even older than that. And that's so unfortunate because you end up spending so much time and energy focused on worrying about this faceless person and what they think than on
yeah,
enjoying life.
yeah. Absolutely. Wow, that's good. When it comes to mentors, and I'm sure that you've mentored and are mentoring, younger girls, because there are a lot of women, younger girls that look up to you. What advice would you have for a mentor or a mother or an older sister when it comes to being able to send the right message to women and being able to mentor them in a positive way when it comes to this?
Right. I always try to lead by example because I think that's the best way to send a message. When I started college, I realized you never know who's watching you.
Uh,
And so you might think that there's nobody there, and you might have a private, like try to have a private moment. You might say or do something, and you think nobody's watching, but someone probably is. And
yeah.
so to consistently be the same, no matter
Hmm.
where you
Hmm.
are and in what situation, I think is very important. One
Absolutely.
thing I had growing up from my mom is she always told me every day that she loved me, and she always told me. I remember there'd be days that I didn't think I looked that good,
Mm,
and there might have been like some issue, hair wise. But my mom never failed to tell me that I was beautiful, even if I didn't think that I was.
mm,
Um, and I might not have always believed her, but it helped. And
hmm.
I have a younger sister who I know struggles with body image, and I just try to remind her all the time to the point that it's annoying that Olivia, you are beautiful, and it doesn't matter what anybody else says. So I just try
Mm,
to encourage with words and with actions because I think
hmm.
that's what's going to help.
Hmm.
I also try to remind the other girls that it doesn't matter what you read in the magazine, and it doesn't, in a sense, matter what people think about you, think how you look, as long as you enjoy it and as long as you think you look good. And in the end, that's what's going to matter. But definitely verbally and by my own actions, I think is the best way.